You know, every myth has a little bit of truth in it, but it's the untrue part that gets us into trouble. It's the untrue part, if we lean into it too much, becomes problematic for us. So let's spend a little bit of time talking about step parenting and the myths that are really common in that role. And we got to start with the most obvious. All stepmothers are wicked and all stepfathers are abusive. Now that makes for really good TV and good movies and Disney, thanks to the Brothers Grimm. Did you know that in the beginning, Cinderella didn't have a wicked stepmother, she just had a wicked mother? The original story was about a mom and a daughter, and she had favorite daughters and the ones she didn't favor. Did you know that? No, you didn't know that. And then the Brothers Grimm came along and changed it to a stepmother. You see, nobody would pass along the first story, but as soon as they changed it to a stepmother, everybody loved it. Everybody wanted to hear and pass along that story. And even today, stepmoms are having to face down that myth. And the abusive stepfather, it's alive and well in our world. But here's the thing I want you to know. In my experience in working with kids for 30 years in blended families, that myth is more commonly believed by the adults, not the children. They don't run around thinking, well, you're wicked because you're my stepmother. Yeah, they've heard that story, but they don't necessarily assume that. It's often the adults who are a little paranoid about having that being thought of in that way. And so all of a sudden you're fighting against a ghost that isn't even there. I just want you to know your task is to build trust with your stepchildren. You want to bond and develop a relationship. You want to connect way before you start to correct. And in so doing, that whole wicked, abusive thing just kind of slips away. But if you are so paranoid that you're trying to defeat this ghost, this enemy that doesn't even really exist, and you start trying too hard to win the heart and mind and soul of this child, you can actually get pushy. You can be too eager. And it's because you're battling something that's not even really there. So relax. Just form a relationship with the kids. And I think you'll find that myth is not something you have to worry about. Here's a second myth that I think sometimes people wrestle with, that step parents are instantly parents once they step into their new role inside the family. And in so doing, this makes the family whole again. Now, I'm very quick to point out, if you're a single parent and you're marrying somebody, you're a single mom and you're marrying a guy, he's a great guy, he's a wonderful man, he's going to step in and help you raise your kids on some level. But you are not marrying the new biological dad to your children. You are marrying a man who becomes their stepfather. There's a big difference. If you assume the family is whole again and he can do everything a dad can do, that often backfires for most blended families and gets them into a lot of trouble. And so you're really not doing that. But here's the good news. Some people think, well, if we're not repairing the family, then we're still a mess. No, you're not a mess. You just become something new and different. You're a blended family at this point in time. So you just need to be a blended family. Don't try to force it into something that it's not. It's okay. Receive it for what it is and move forward. Here's myth number 3. Step parents can immediately take on high parental status. Now, in my determination, this is the biggest mistake couples and blended families make. They're going to instantly throw the step parent into the role of doing all things that a parent can do, including hand down consequences, set boundaries, behavioral management of a child, whether that child is elementary age, or a teenager, or a young adult. No, I said earlier, connect before you correct. Really, relationship has to precede trying to be a disciplinarian. We want the biological parent to do that for a couple of years, often is what it takes. Long enough for the step parent to develop a relationship, to earn the respect, earn the right to lead through punishment. We want bio parents to do that because you have a clearly established relationship with your child. They know who you are. Your mom, they're your kids, end of story. Everybody knows who one another is, but stepdad, that's unclear. Stepchild, that's unclear. It's really hard to do the hard work of behavioral management of a child when you don't have clarity in your role. So you be the parent. You hand down the hard decisions. Let him focus, or her, stepmom, focus on relationship development. You could be an extension of the biological parent. I think step parents pretty quickly can say, now, if your mom was here, She would say no to that, so I'm going to say no to that. Now, you're extending the parent's authority, but you're not trying to live on your own authority. That's delicate, but it's a very important distinction, and it will help your family find time to develop that bond so the step parent can eventually become more parental over time.